everybody. Welcome to this stream. I want to verify the sound, if everything is correct, please. Hello, can you hear me well? I will try to. Now it's better? Is now better? Maybe it's better right now. Okay. Hello. Okay, I will try to improve this in the coming streams. But for now, I'm going to just give in the welcome and activate my camera. Still a little low. I need to practice more with this. Anyway, you can see me right now. Can you hear me well? I'm going to amplify maybe the C1, which is my microphone, and let me know if you can see the image and the sound is at least audible. I try to fix that in the future. Okay, so if everything is good, we can start. So it's 3 minutes in streaming time, so I think it's not too much. Okay, we're going to cover the watercolor painting with the watercolor brushes that you have already installed in Krita. And I have prepared a surprise for the viewers, because I know that people is more engaged. I know by myself, because I expect something, surprise or whatever. So I'm going to share in the chat. You can see in the screen or in the chat. Let me check. So I have posted a link where you can download all the things that I'm going to cover. Okay, and I'm going to start from scratch. Imagine you have installed Krita 5 and you want to paint something with watercolor. Okay, so right now I'm going to start Krita, and I'm going to share my screen. Now you can see my screen, and I'm going to show you how everything is empty. There is nothing. Okay, but the key is that I'm going to start Krita and everything is going to be created. So no tricks, no nothing. I start from scratch. Okay, and what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to load the resources and do some steps before I go to painting, because when you are creating things with watercolor, um, it's a very good idea to modify just a couple of parameters. So stay with me, because here we go. So you can see default, and this is Krita 5, nothing special or modified. A bit the UI is modified, but you get the idea. Okay, so I create a new file, and then I go to my settings and configure Krita. Let me know if I go too fast, please, because this streaming is to be relaxed and also learning a couple of things. So for me, the experience for you is better than, more important than me painting some landscapes or whatever. Okay, so if I go here, you can see that the maximum brush size is 2000 pixels, and if you modify this, Krita is telling you that needs to restart. Okay, but there is no problem about this, because if you restart, everything is saved. And why 2000 pixels? Because when you make wash, you there are sometimes that you are covering a wide range of space in your canvas. Okay, so I left in this point. Now I modify something here, because I need to configure the toolbars, and in this part of the menu, the brushes and stuff, which is this part, I'm going to look for the slider 3, and slider 4, and you're gonna see why I'm using these sliders. Okay, because I want to modify this as my taste, size, opacity, flow, and pattern scale. Okay, I'm very used to that configuration, so is good for me, because if you want to modify the pattern scale for the texture in the brushes, it's really fast to go here instead of going here and look for the pattern section and just select another texture. What do you think about this addition? I think is really good. Okay, if you notice, usually the brushes works in this way. Okay, if I make pressure, you can see how I get more opaque color. If I choose blue, you can see, and if I choose another brush, you can see how if I press more, I get more color. But the watercolor is different, because when I was creating these brushes, I was thinking about how to spread the content of the brush stroke. Okay, will this stream? I think it's recorded by default. If not, I have a problem, because I haven't modified anything. Anyway, I think yes, is recorded, so no problem. Okay, I was talking about the brushes. If you notice, if I go here and select this kind of brush, I select a size like this, and I press harder, and I get no color at the end of the brush stroke. It's the opposite as we were talking before. Okay, is this clear? Because it's really important, because the brush for me has 3 different parts. Okay, the brush has the low part, the medium part, and the high pressure range. Okay, so it depends of the behavior you want to achieve in these parts. You configure the brush to get that thing. Okay, for me this brush is useful because I can draw, or I can cover things, I can cover area with this medium opacity range, or I can use this, which is wash. Okay, of course there are other artists that use another techniques, but as you can see in the I remember in the YouTube community post that I posted recently with the girl and the swan landscape, they were created with these kind of brushes. But as you can see in the downloaded pack that I have uploaded to the Google Drive, you can see there are more brushes. So what we are going to do right now, we are going to import resources, and in Krita 5 that is really improved, because I can go to manage resources and just go to the import resources, and if I go to this part, oh, spoiler if I go to this part, pack for the stream, I get this. So I select this first, because they are the textures that we are going to use for the things that I'm going to cover, and hit open. And now Krita is telling you that detects the content, but you have to decide that is a brush tip or is a pattern. I'm reading the comment, please, woman, a moment. Depending on the pressure, is the line to fill areas. Yes, exactly, Lord Balbero. You get the idea. So I load the patterns, and they are loaded. You can see if I go instead of the brush preset to the patterns, you can see all the resources that we are loading, wax crayon and so on. And now we're going to just load the brush presets to amplify a bit the performance, because I noticed that in my laptop these brushes, even when they were optimized, when I was creating them, I can improve it a bit more. So I spend a bit of time just modifying some parameters. So I'm going to import and create new ones. These ones, and mix KBP, KBP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Okay. Open. And you can see that this is normal. Okay. It's detecting that Krita has already this brush, and is asking you if you want to replace it with a new one. Okay, I say yes, and now they are going to appear right here, and you can see that they are loaded correctly. Okay, and why these brushes are interesting, you can see that I'm using a blank paper. Okay, no texture in the paper. That is the more difficult surface to work with when you want to mimic the watercolor, because watercolor is really based on paper. Even if in reality, if you select a bad paper, you're done. Your watercolor is not going to shine as you were thinking. Okay, so I go to here, and I can see these two new brushes. It's the lines expand and the lines precise, and I created them because this brush I see is very rough, and when I click I make more pressure, I get these edges. I don't want that. Okay, this brush is for drawing, like a sketch, something like this. I'm creating a fast sketch, and you can see how I see no opaque, more opaque. It's like water inside the brush, okay? But if I want to create a bit of expanded brushstroke, I can go here and I can select, and I get similar result, but is better for drawing, okay? So if I start to create my drawing like this, I'm creating maybe a face. You can see if I go harder with the pressure, I can get this result. Okay, so in fact, as Unbounded Art and Crafts has detected, I think in texture, but inside the brush, and also in the pattern section. So it's covering two different ways of painting with these brushes, even with no texture in the background, but we will cover that later. So if I go here, you can see that this brush is much better for line work, because imagine I want to create an eye here and I'm drawing with this brush, I can detail very well. So this brush, it can expand also and has the opacity trick, but it's not so it's more opaque, okay? And it's finer, because if I need to create lashes, I can do with this brush. Of course I can use ink brushes, but I think this is better for drawing, just drawing. I can design my brush, whatever. If I go too fast, you can tell me in the comments, okay? Because now I'm going to go to the first exercise. You can practice with this kind of brushes. If you select this brush, it has less flow. I don't get that right now, but yeah, this is more rigid, and this has more expandable, but the flow is controlled. You can see the flow here, that the more pressure you make on the brush, it's decreasing, okay? So this is low pressure, high pressure, and you can see how it is decreasing. And that is the trick, because if now I get, for example, 3 boxes, or 5, because I'm going to show you different things, okay? This brush cannot spread too much, okay? So for when we are drawing a character, we will use this kind of brush or this kind of brush, because it's also good. But if I'm going to cover this as a surface, I want to use something like this, and I tell you why. Because if I press slowly, you can see I can just feel the surface with almost a solid color. And if you have done real watercolor, you know how difficult it is to get perfect covered area, okay? But look at this, because if I go pressing more and more, I am decreasing, and I get this result, a gradient, okay? And if I use this and start to, maybe this is too small, I'm going to yes, this is too small. I'm going to make it bigger, and that way you have a better idea. So now I have something like this, okay? So with the pressure, you decide how much intensity you get in the area you want. For example, I want more intensity in this part of the box, so I start to pressure more, and then I go here and release my pen slowly, and you get this kind of effect. I pressure with high intensity and I keep the pressure. You know, you can see how this is getting more opacity, but there's a limit, okay? But you can decide that you want now the intensity in the other part of the box. Look at this. That's exactly the effect that we are looking when we are creating gradients. We are controlling where is that direction that the painting is going to be, okay? I'm going to read a bit the comments. Background or into lighter. Okay, I know it's clear. I see that you have cleared the basic idea, okay? But what happens if I make a brushstroke like this and I make another one? From getting bigger? Now you can stop the getting bigger because this is controlled by the scatter. It's controlled by this parameter. Remember, this is a trick based on the knowing of the parameters. You can also create your own brushes, and you can see how this is scattering in this axis, this brush, and also this brush, but with less amount. Anyway, I am explaining you the main behavior, because if I explain all the parameters, I can be just for at least a couple of days. I spent, if I remember well, when I created Digital Atelier, I spent 1 week thinking about how to create this effect with no physics. It was an amazing experience. Okay, I was talking about how I create this kind of blending. Well, I can paint strong and lift a bit, and you get not too much a different opacity, because you have controlled the opacity here and here. Hi Arjen. With the performance of grade in this version, yeah, I think Krita is better and better in each release. Okay, so this is the way I blend brush strokes, but with opacity. That is very useful because you cannot make continuous brushstroke in all your painting area. It's very difficult. And imagine if I fail in this section, if I make Ctrl C, I delete all the work that I have done. So I prefer to work by areas. So the next exercise is to show you how I remove overlapped section. Maybe I get this and I see, okay, this part is darker, so what can I do? I press the E key to get to the eraser, and now I get this. But I can start with low pressure, because then I'm going to erase a lot, and I want erase softly, so I start pressing the maximum pressure, and slowly I erase the content. Okay, and also I can use this and this, which is another brush stroke, and I can use this brush, which is called the water pattern. Okay, so this is useful for blending the content of your brush strokes. You blending your brush strokes. Okay, so what do you think until now? Just let me know in the comments. Okay, I am following the script which is right here. Okay, so with this idea of how these brushes are working, we can go to the next level. Okay, so what these brushes are about, these new brushes. If I press the delete key, I remove the content, and you can see that I'm going to select this color, and if I make a brush stroke right now, you can start to see that there is something interesting. I can control how opaque is the brush stroke. Yes, Arjen, they are already, but you can see the texture, it's always not dependent on the brush size. Okay, this is the texture of the brush, and you can see here that is using this texture is a watercolor paper, is a real watercolor paper. I take a photograph and then I make seamless the photograph. So it was a work for Digital Atelier. We will talk maybe if I have time about that. But you can see the texture. Okay, and what happens if I want to reduce or increase the size? I have to go here, and I can increase the texture size. So I have the control of opacity, and I have control over the scale for the pattern. Okay, I think it's very, very nice. I love the pattern scale too. And then I go here and I have this brush, and look at that, I have selected blue, but it's getting oranges tone. Why this is happening, and how we can control this distortion of the color, because this behaves like a rough color, rough mix, like quality pigment, not Scholar brand with intrinsical behaviors. It's difficult to explain, but not all the colors behave in the same way when you are mixing them. So that way I can control my mixing and play a bit with the textures. Okay, of course, if you go here to the brush editor, I am a bit confused because I was playing also with Krita 4, and you know, in Krita 5 this has been changed. So this is what brush maker is suffering. But I prefer what we have right now. Okay, so if I go to the pattern, I'm going to change the pattern, and you see that I can get a different behavior. I can maybe stars, and you can see what is this about. Okay, you can combine, and this will be altered also. But how can I control the way it's mixing the colors? Then I go here to the mix section and I go to the pressure, and you can see that I am using the foreground to background with the pressure. So if I keep pressing almost in the 50%, I get foreground color. But if I press more, then I get the background. And why is this? Because if I'm interested to fill some area, I don't want to have all the color spotting me, like punching me on the face. I want to control where the color appears, because I can't control perfectly my pressure to this level, okay? But if I create a curve like this, the range is slower, not slower, smaller, okay? And this is more controllable because there is not all the range, all the pressure. I'm reading the comments. So are you practicing with this process right now? Arjen, I put the pattern scale at the beginning. It's right, go here to the settings, configure toolbars, and you go to the brushes and stuff, and you imagine I don't have this, and I look for a slider, and the button appears. I select the last one and press this button, and you get it again here. Searching the left. I think Krita has a very nice customizable UI. Reading, oh yes, that's cool effect. Yes, that is what I what I like to read. I'm learning to use them, scrub tails. Thank you very much, because I think explaining the basics is not very exciting, but it's the key to understand how the brushes work. Okay. So now let's go to the another level. So if I go to my pack for the stream and load the the waterc template, if you have loaded the resources, you open as a new document, you will see something like this. Okay, this is texture, but you can see a lot of layers with effects. And why is this? You can see this portrait is done by the artist Pesi, and he is the creator of an impressive watercolor brushlet. I love it. It has very good ideas, and he designed also this behavior with this effect in the layer style. The satin is controlling a bit the effect, and also the overlay. If you remember well, in the channel I talk about the smart canvas. So I fix this image and I create it with the fill layer. So you can select here the texture, for example. I make this, and you can see how now is the paper of watercolor. Okay, but you can see this probably is empty, so nothing happens. You have the control of this of this file. Okay, so if you press F3, you look for the grain, and you can see slightly the effect is like noise, but it's very appealing for watercolor. Okay, so if you want to know more about this artist, I have prepared a link. Let me check. Yes, I think this was the thread. It's an interesting thread because we were discussing about the brushes and the blending modes. We will talk about that with ideas, examples. It's really, really interesting to see how other artists can improve ideas, or how we can share the ideas and create a better community. Okay, let me check. I was in the chat for sharing the. This is the link. You have the link. Okay. Not yet, Arvin Pinto. No, Bessie set is already for Krita 5. Okay, I'm going to load the brushes right now because I'm going to show you a couple of things with his brushes too. Let me check settings, manage resource libraries, and import. And then I have downloaded previously, and is the 2.3 bundle. And you click OK. Wait a bit because it's a bit longer than the previous one. Okay, it's loaded, and I deactivate and activate, but this is something that I do for caution. While I was testing, I detected some things. Maybe it's fixed right now, so you load it, and if you have the issue that is not completely loaded with the tag, just doing this, it fixes. Okay, and you can see this is the bundle that he has created. I'm referring to like he, I don't know if it's she or another thing, so sorry if I'm mistaken. And I have these brushes. I like this one, and I can paint in a layer like this, and you can see for this kind of effect is really, really interesting. What creates that effect? It creates an edge in the brush stroke. Is more obvious maybe right here. You can see the effect around this edge. It's more like watercolor. Look at this edge, because if I paint right here, which I modify the original file, and I created a layer above to avoid this behavior. Okay, and why? Because if I want to create faster brushstrokes, this needs to compute the effect, and for some brushes this takes more time, and I want to paint as fast as I can. But as you will see, I paint also very, very slowly. Okay, so if I press here with this brush stroke, you can see the effect of this brush. This brush is really nice. For example, I can create this effect, and it's overlapping, right? But if I go here, I can blend. No, not this. Maybe I'm mistaken. This one, I think. And I blend a bit the contours. Okay, this is the set that he created, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Just download it, go to his Gumroad account, and I can't remember if he's selling them, but anyway, if you can support the artist, why not? Okay, so this is what I was talking about, this effect, and this is how I painted this mini landscape fast sketch. Let me put this in again in the right way. Blend the brush in eraser mode. What does satin layer is what is creating the edge around the brush stroke. Okay, so as you can see, this is a very common situation where you want to paint something and you have a lot of brushes and you have to decide which brush I'm going to use for its kind of content. I'm going to disable the RGBA or maybe reduce the size to see more brushes at the same time. Yeah, something like this. Okay, so how I can create this type of painting? I need this kind of brush stroke. I'm going to, in the paint layer, if I'm going to duplicate, you can see that it's creating something like this. Okay, and as you can see, if I press more, I get less opacity, and that is what can create this kind of blurry backgrounds. And something that is also useful is this kind of blend painting. It's a bit slower, but now I'm going to show you something that I have created. I don't know if loads correctly, but I'm going to try. So manage resources, import. I'm going to Krita resources, new brushes. Yes, this one. Okay. For blending brushes that I can use to create this kind of effect that I like a lot. Okay, I can drag the color as we are combining the texture and the overlay with the grain effect, and we are combining it with blending. Is not looking pure digital. If I remove the grain, it's more digital. If I remove the paper, it's look more like normal brush, but the combined effect is creating the watercolor effect. You can find these brushes. I have put a link in the chat. Okay. And the good thing, look at the water. The water was created like this. It's like dragging from the empty part of the image, and I can create ripples. Isn't this cool? Isn't it cool, this? I love it. Also, this kind of brush strokes with this edge are created like this. With this, if I remember well, this brush, but in a layer that is below to create the edges. But is this done on the DA Aquarel template? Is this done? I have prepared the surface. You only have to maybe look for this. If nothing appears here, just press F3 and look for the right pattern, and it's the same for here, but it's not complicated when you understand how it's produced. Okay, and now you have well, it's maybe blue is not the right color. Maybe it's like more like this, a tree. And now you are going to see something that is interesting, and we were discussing on the forum. That's the way Krita Artist Forum is so cool, is that the effect created with the blending mode parallel. If you select yellow, sorry, you can see that I have vibrant yellow here. But if I select blue with this kind of brush, I don't know why is happening this. Not so green as before in my test. Maybe something like this. We can simulate a bit the real behavior of color, because if I select, for example, magenta and I select yellow, I get red. Okay, this is what parallel blending mode offers to the users. It's a mix between I am answering Arjen Dembor. It's a mix between PESI behavior created with the satin mode and the smart canvas mode created with and the knowledge I saw in the video. And Digital Atelier, the templates with Digital Atelier were more complete in terms of texture, because they have more textures in the pack, but they are not so smart. This is around 20 and 21. Digital Atelier is a bit older in that aspect, but their resources are still valid. When PESI shared this template, for example, the honeycomb that is using here by default in this layer is the Digital Atelier pack. So does it use the calculation of the color function? I don't know, Lord Valvero. In the thread you have a lot of discussion about the blending mode, parallel blending mode. You can see Krita has a lot of blending modes, and as you are exploring, for example, if you go darken or lighten, you can see more and more and more, and you can see that you can check the blending mode and then it becomes your favorite. And I love the blending modes, and I play a lot with the blending modes, so I have a lot of them. Anyway, how we are going with this mini lesson of watercolor with PESI brushes and my brushes. I see the comments. Is there any doubt about this, specifically how I created this or this? Arjen is a mix between two. Okay, so you can see that the effect is quite appealing for the eye, and you can create really interesting things with this technique. For example, I'm going to close this, or maybe no, let me check the script. Yes, you can see, for example, this water gill, or do you prefer the other one? As you can see, there is no texture in the white area, And why this can be useful? Because if you are a children book illustrator, uh, maybe you find that your editor or chief in or your chairman is wanting more like blank area, not the paper. So this way you have the effect really fast, and that's the reason why I combine the pattern with the known pattern brushes. And as you can see this kind of edge, and you can think that this is complex, but it's not complex. It's just the use of combined brushstrokes. Arjen, I think this is recorded by default. I hope. Okay, so now I'm going to create something. Let me check what I have here. I'm gonna clean, sorry PC, I'm going to delete. Yeah, I'm gonna click this, click clear. Ooh, I have broken this part of the canvas. Maybe around here. No? Well, it's not a problem because I can crop my canvas instead of looking the mistake in the layers, and I can create another canvas. As I'm using the fill layer. Whoa. Sorry, I have done something bad here. Maybe just is here. Can you help me to find the issue? I don't know what is happening here. So I'm going to remove slightly. Of course, I can check this when the streaming is finished. Okay, so I'm going to paint something similar to this. Yeah, something. I need only the idea. And how I start with this kind of paintings, I select a brush like this, which expands, not too much saturated colors. Copy levels. I don't know. And I start to sketch my woman or man or whatever. Okay, I'm going to improvise a bit, start to create something like this. Let me see if you find any mistakes. As you can see, I'm not drawing too much. It's only for the demo. Okay. I have my little girl right here, and you can see that I have something in the eyes. Let me check. Yeah, something like this. Okay, how I paint this, like the example I saw before. Normally I get or this brush when I am filling surfaces like this, and I decide where I want to have my volume. Okay, I create a new layer and put it down. Imagine this is a sketch, and start to create shading like this. For example, this is going to be in shadow. I select this and I start to work like this really fast. Are you trying to create something with these brushes already? Look at how I'm modeling the volume just with the pressure. It's not too many brush strokes, but one brush stroke controlled. How you do the grain overlay and paper overlay is controlled by these layers. Okay. Okay, so I have this, and I have moved my brush. Okay, but you get the idea. And now the texture of this brush that has the icon of the pattern, because it's really dependent on the texture, is the same as the background. So you can not notice too much difference between the paper and the texture of the brush. But anyway, you can combine these two different behaviors. And also you can go here and activate the mix for this brush, because I have set up to be active whenever you want. Okay, so maybe I select this, maybe blue for the foreground and more warm for the shadow, for the background. You can see I have blue, but I have also bit of orange, so I can combine this effect and start to play with the bead and create this kind of not hyper realistic kind of painting. It depends of the image or Balbero, but you can see the effect. My idea overall of this stream is that you lose the fear of making watercolors digitally, because when you get the basics done, you can create very interesting pieces. And look at this hole right here. Is very interesting, because in the real watercolor also happened like this. Okay, I'm going to delete this, just remove here. Oh, it's not here. Where is it? Okay. Okay. Can you see the effect of fast watercolor? Do you think it's easy, is complicated? Do you need too much time to learn this? Remember that you can blend some areas just using this brush in the right layer. Let me check. Yeah, something like this. If you want to create round nose, you can see how it's created. Okay. Is there any doubt about all the things I am referring? Because there are only 2 or 3 things to finish the stream. Okay, what if I want to create highlights? Because I can delete with this brush, for example. If I press the E, I can create highlights like this. So I don't have to be really worried about having too much brushes, but knowing the tricks on how to use them. Okay. For example, I want to emphasize a bit the noise right here. The noise, not, it's not noise. The nose. Now I'm going to play a bit with this. And as I was talking before, maybe for the eyelashes, I'm going to use this. You can see how detailed can be in a specific area without worrying too much about if it's watercolor or not. Okay. A last bit, not too much. Maybe a bit of makeup, eyeliner. Come to me. Something like this. And what if I create a mistake on my drawing? Do you think I missed something that you want to learn about watercolor? I think I need a highlight here, so I go to my brush. I like this brush because if I get color, I get this, but if I am removing, erasing, I get really hard edge, and sometimes is that what I want for the drawing. Okay, but look at this. I need to fix that hole maybe. So let me check. Yeah, I'm going to select this color. As this is creating the edge, maybe it's not the right color, so I can paint here and start to blend in this to something more like this. I create now maybe a background, and for that I use this kind of brushes. But look at that. If I go too fast, I see that behavior, okay? But if I go over here, it's different. Do you notice the difference? I'm going to read a bit the comments. ¿Hay alguien que hable español que necesite ayuda? Que aproveche. Porque ponía en la noticia que también se puede preguntar en español. See more, use more than 2 colors for the fore and background via pressure. Not, but I can get vibrancy on the color. For example, if I use this, you can see that it's mixing two color. But if I go here and enable the hue controlled by pressure, you can see I'm going to disable the mix to get clearer the effect. Can you see the purple? I'm going to give more intensity. Just let me check this and not reduce so much. Woohoo. Yeah, purple. And the hue is not controlled by pressure, by fuzzy depth, and you get the party. Or maybe more aggressive, and you get this effect, which in this case is not really traditional look, but with more softer brush, maybe it works better. I don't play too much with this, except in one brush that is not polished yet. Yeah, you can see the effect. The fuzzy depth I'm going to be to extreme, and look at that. And if you use this carefully, you can see that I can create interesting effects. Okay, and I think, if I remember well from my own script, that this is everything for right now. So people is asking digital atelier in the chat. You have more info about digital atelier here, and it's a very good way to support Krita. Maybe you want to support buying this bundle, or this, which was the training with videos and explaining everything, also how to create your own resources, which I think was not the best part, but almost the best part. And of course, thank you very much for being here. It has been much longer than I was expecting, but I hope this is helpful for you. And if I miss something, or if I miss too much things, I will make another stream, but I think the basics are covered. So now the good thing is that you can go to the kritaartist.org and publish your finished sketches or final images and see their results there. Okay, I will appreciate a lot your effort to publish your stuff. I know there are kids, 2 kids watching this stream. So hi, I'm really glad that even people that is learning in the beginning years, in the childhood, they are interested into creating art. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching. This is the end for now, but stay tuned, because it will be more updates. Bye.